History, triumph, dynasty, passion, mentality, superstars, Galacticos. Separate expressions that together make one Real Madrid. Yes, the Spanish giants have won La Decimoquinta, but they have no intention of stopping there. With the signing of the world's best player Kylian Mbappe and Brazil's most promising young talent Endrick, the Galacticos' new mega project is well underway. And knowing Florentino Perez's obsession with the world's biggest superstars, well, rest assured that this won't be the last of the names Los Blancos add to their lineup. So today we're going to talk about everything important about the modern-day Galacticos, who will not be shying away from new heroics this season. Real Madrid have always been a club of the game's greatest superstars from the era of Paco Gento, Alfredo Di Stefano and Ferenc Puskás in the 1950s when they won 5 consecutive European Cups, to the era of Fernando Hierro, Predrag Mijatovic and Clarence Seedorf, which won the Champions League in 1998. These two Real Madrid teams were great in their own right, but they cannot compare with the scale and status that the era of the Galacticos brought to the club with the arrival of Florentino Perez. A presidential election was due to be held just weeks after the 2000 Champions League triumph, and no one could have imagined that an unknown 53-year-old businessman called Florentino Perez would launch the most extraordinary football project the game had ever seen, and he did so by paying 60 million euros for Luis Figo from Barcelona, completing one of the most controversial transfers in football history, followed by 77.5 million for Zidane, 45 for Ronaldo Fenomeno, and 37.5 for David Beckham. Yes, Florentino Perez parted with around 250 million euros to bring in the world's most exciting superstars. Despite a successful Champions League run in 2002 and La Liga titles in 2001 and 2003, the first Galactico era was considered a failure. The official reason for this was a poor Champions League record after the 2002 triumph, but many pundits have argued that their failure was largely due to Barcelona's success at a time when the Catalans were also making an impression with their own ideology. Rather than spending millions on stars, they prefer to build a legacy from the inside, nurturing young superstars from La Masia Academy. As a result, Florentino Perez decided to step down as the president of Real Madrid in 2006 after a 2-season title drought. He took over again in 2009 when everyone expected that he would approach with another ideology. Well, nothing of the sort. In the first summer after his return to the Santiago Bernabeu, he resumed the Galacticos policy, bringing in Kaká and Cristiano Ronaldo for a total of 150 million euros. And then, year after year, this team became more and more formidable. And while the first few seasons didn't bring the desired Champions League results, the climax was one for the ages. La Decima, the historic victory over city rivals Atletico, will undoubtedly remain one of the most precious triumphs in Real Madrid's history, because of the effort, because of the hard work, because of the winning method, which subsequently proved Perez to be the ultimate football negotiator and businessman. Over the years, many more players have come and gone, many more successes have been achieved, but by the end of the second Galacticos era, coming soon after the club's historic 3 successive Champions League titles, after serious disagreements over the future between Cristiano Ronaldo and Florentino, Perez showed the world that no one is bigger than the club and the ideology, and was willing to sacrifice even one of the greatest players to save his reputation. 6 years have passed since that moment in the summer of 2018, and although Real Madrid have not technically been in so-called Galactico period since then, they did win the 2022 Champions League. This triumph was more due to the unrivaled mentality and tactical moves in the transfer market than of meteoric spending. But then came 3 successive transfer windows that brought back the old ideology. Antonio Rudiger, the best centre-back in the Premier League at the time, signed as a free agent from Chelsea in 2022. Then, in 2023, more than 100 million euros paid to Borussia Dortmund for the world's most exciting talent, Jude Bellingham. And in 2024, Mbappe and Endrick. Real Madrid have been linked with a move for the French superstar long before 24, with a very clear interest last summer. Back then, they offered a staggering fee for Mbappe, who had just 1 year left on his contract. The PSG chiefs didn't let him go and gave Mbappe an ultimatum. If he didn't renew his contract, he wouldn't play a minute of football. In the end, not only did he play, adding another League One title to his collection, but he also managed to join Real Madrid on a free transfer. At the heart of the deal, of course, was Florentino Perez, who once again played his hand to perfection. Oh, and all that with another La Liga and Champions League title to the cabinet. If that's not impressive, I don't know what is. So to put it simply, Mbappe and Endrick join a squad that realistically is the same, apart from the absence of Toni Kroos. After the Super Cup win over Atalanta and the first 2 La Liga games of the season, pundits and fans alike said that Real Madrid weren't as balanced as they were last season, that they didn't have the creator they so desperately needed, or that Mbappe, Jude and Vinny didn't have the chemistry yet. Well, now we have a question. Since when are players who have never played together expected to build chemistry in the first 3 games of the season? The fans really need to calm down sometimes, especially when the team is winning, like Madrid just won the Super Cup. But there were still people saying Mbappe needs to show more. Even if you are one of the best in the world, when you come to a club with the status and prestige of Real Madrid, sometimes you need 10 or 15 games to really feel your place in the team, the position you're expected to play, and your psychological frame of mind. Yes, the performance against Mallorca wasn't particularly impressive, as Madrid could have won the game long before the end of the first half, but they did show a certain arrogance and superiority over their opponents, which proved to be the key to the draw. But at the end of the day, what team wouldn't show arrogance when you have Vinicius, Bellingham, Mbappe and Rodrigo in your attack, with Endrick and Arda Güler eager to come off the bench and add a touch of their own talent? We could talk for days about Los Blancos' astonishing position and the huge expectations placed on them this year, but let's end this video by analysing Real Madrid's overall tactical setup through the lens of their formidable attack. Firstly, what is Carlo Ancelotti best known for? Well, he can be classified as the so-called tactical chameleon. The Italian specialist is easily one of the most experienced coaches in the game and has expertise in a number of styles of play: possession, counter-attacking, high pressing, etc. Basically, he is used to adapting his team according to the players he has at his disposal, and he knows how to make the most of each one's qualities. Joselu is a perfect example of this, a poacher who certainly doesn't have the Real Madrid DNA, and his transfer in 2023 raised many doubts. When a year on from his signing, it's safe to say that Real Madrid wouldn't have won the Champions League last season without him, and of course the huge influence of Ancelotti as their coach. This is what we are talking about. So with that being said, Ancelotti can now change the style of play, moving away from the positional game of the last few seasons to more of a counter-attacking style. And well, it is safe to say that he has some of the best players in the world at his disposal to do this. 2 solid fast centre-backs in Rudiger and Eder Milito, a speedy left-back who can join the attack in Ferland Mendy, a controlling right-back who tends to be more involved in the build-up, Dani Carvajal, and a combination of strong, independent defensive midfielder and dynamic creative player who can complement each other in Tchouaméni and Fede Valverde, an enduring attacking midfielder who can add flair in Bellingham, and of course the icing on the cake, the roaming attack trio of Vinicius, Mbappe and Rodrigo, or Endrick depending on the opposition. This is the perfect lineup for Ancelotti's modern-day Galacticos, and we can't wait to see what this team can achieve in 2024-25. As this episode draws to a close, we invite you to share your opinions and feelings on the subject. Do you think Madrid will be able to live up to expectations, or will the increasingly discussed lack of a typical creator like Kroos prove a disaster for the team? And also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more football deep dives. Thank you for watching, and catch you next time.